Welcome back into the Sean podcast. Back with you another week, another time period. Um, we're going to get into some real interesting stuff this week, but before we do, Sean, anything on your mind?
We just have 1 week of preseason games left, and then the regular season is here.
Is that time already?
I am glad they shortened the off season. I'm glad. It, I know we'll get into some injuries, etc. in a couple of minutes, but I'm glad that the preseason is finally coming to a close because what have we all been waiting for? We've all been waiting for the regular season. No matter what team you root for, no matter if you're a Chargers fan fighting a Rams fan, no matter if you're a Steelers fan just punching someone else in the face, we don't condone violence at football games, so stop doing it. You're looking like fools because it's all being recorded. And if you're going to watch anything recorded, you should be watching us and our two professional amateur opinions because we are expert amateurs. So,
Indeed. All right, well, I'm going to get this started and I'm going to get this popping already. I'm calling out the mainstream media because y'all stupid. I'm sorry, you're wrong. Low rent at best. You guys can't help but taking the lowbrow, low-hanging fruit for clicks, and then you want to extravagant that. Dak Prescott had a muscle pull. It's not serious, people. Do not believe these dumb nonsense people on these talking head shows. Literally, they lie to you. That's their job. I'm hearing Shannon Sharp say 6 weeks. He hasn't, he threw at least the first practice after the Hall of Fame game, which, was the one that he went out in. It hasn't been 6 weeks since then because the Hall of Fame game was the first preseason game. They play a preseason game every week after that, and then he came back last week with light throwing. What in the world are these dudes talking about? Next thing you know, the people are talking about, well, he's going to be rusty because he didn't play in the preseason. Yada played in the preseason. Do you know many quarterbacks haven't played in the preseason? You got Matt Ryan. You got Aaron Rodgers. You got Joe Burrow. You got Sam Darnold had one drive. But there's multiple. Justin Herbert. There's multiple quarterbacks. There's at least 12 that haven't played in the preseason. Chill out. Find a new team to talk about. Now we're going to move on and talk about some real injuries. Sean, update the people on people who are actually injured and may have possible issues.
Oh, you mean the real injuries? Okay.
Yes.
The ones that, okay.
Not muscle pulls and then have a coach that's just being, guarded because Mac McCarthy's might be the most paranoid coach in the world.
Actual injury news, I think one of the bigger injuries that occurred is Carl Lawson, edge from the New York Jets. He is out for the season with a torn Achilles. Man, huge loss for the Jets, who are they're really depending on Lawson this year to help anchor that defense. So I think that one's a really big loss.
There's another loss that may not be big in that sense, but for the player in particular, for how the injury is and the dynamic he was supposed to bring to the team, injecting of that youth. Who's that guy?
Well, I think we talked about Jordan Love on a previous episode, though, right?
No. Jordan Love's not hurt.
Oh, you must have talked about Jalen Hurts and his stomach infection.
No.
But I get it. Tevin Jenkins and his other back injury?
Before you get there, Tevin Jenkins is one of them that we do need to talk about because that's a rough stint. He's got to have surgery. So I'm sorry, Bear fans. But the one I'm talking, before we get into the guy I'm talking about, Jalen Hurts being out for the Eagles, that's bad. That's bad because I'm sorry, Eagle fans. Joe Flacco ain't going to help you out. Joe Flacco's cooked. Just saying. But moving on to this young player from the state in the state of Florida.
Yep, we're talking about Travis Etienne, rookie running back for the Jacksonville Jaguars. Suffered a
Oh,
offensive
yes.
weapon. We'll call him an
There,
offensive
there
weapon. I
we
think that's the
go.
term when you have like that running back, wide receiver hybrid that you just do whatever you want with. We'll call him a weapon. Suffered a mid-foot sprain that is considered to be Liz Frank injury. So he is going to undergo surgery, and he's expected to miss the entire season,
I
which
mean,
is
that's
big
unfortunate.
loss.
It's
Yeah.
unfortunate for the kid because I mean, regardless, you want the kid come out and have a good season.
Yeah, and I mean, it's bad for Jacksonville because they spent the number 25 pick
True.
on this rookie, and now he can't even play during the regular season.
Hey,
But this wasn't going to be necessarily, they weren't expected to win this year. That wasn't the expectation. I know that in one of our previous episodes, you had Jacksonville picked to go to the playoffs.
yeah, I'm probably gonna eat that crow.
Well, it's the AFC South. Who knows? Who
True,
knows?
true that. You never know. You never know, ever. Anyways,
Yeah.
any more injuries? Anything significant?
Uh, The significance could be Daryl Henderson with the Rams. Another one of their running backs is injured. This time, Daryl
I've heard it's
Henderson
not
has.
significant actually. I've heard
I
it's
know,
not a
but
big deal.
you're thinking sprained thumb. You're thinking may not be able to catch the ball as well. May not be able to hold on to the ball as well. Will he be able to get the job done? Yeah. Could he be affected a little bit? Yeah.
I heard it's minor though. So we'll see. We'll see.
We'll
Um,
see. And then you want to come back to Tevin Jenkins.
just I mean, I was rooting for the guy. He's a good pick. I mean, is he out for the year, or is it? How long is the injury for?
No, I believe he's expected to miss the entire season. I think that's the expectation for it.
Oh, that's just unfortunate.
From what Matt Nagy was
Unfortunate.
saying, I think it was a new or a different back injury from the one he suffered in college. So it's another one.
Oh no! And then when you got chronic
Yeah.
back injuries, that's even worse.
It is kind of makes you think, what were those medical checks like, or did the Bears feel comfortable with the risk with
True.
the medical checks going through? But I really liked that Tevin Jenkins pick in the second round. I didn't mind the Bears trading up to get him. I thought that was a really good move that they had done. And I think they, as a whole, were looking forward to having Tevin Jenkins be an anchor on that offensive line, but they're going to be missing him for the entire season. So that
Well,
is
hopefully,
unfortunate for him.
hopefully he can come back next year, and hopefully his career can continue and get on track. Now,
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
speaking of those Bears, we're gonna jump right in, straight up in the deep end, because I mean, me and you have had some conversations about this this week through through messaging.
And how? Yeah.
But we're going into QB competitions. Now, no, I understand the Bears say there is no competition, but us from our couches, we believe there should be. Well, actually, no. One of us over here believes there should not be a
Okay, okay,
competition
okay,
whatsoever.
okay,
But
okay.
we'll get into this now.
Oh, we will. Let's go.
There is a debate on who the Bears should be starting at quarterback week one. I know who I believe, but Sean, go ahead, give your reasonings.
So I want to start by saying I think Justin Fields is the more talented quarterback.
Uh huh.
Okay, I'm getting out of the way early, but I still think that Andy Dalton is going to start the season as the quarterback. If we remember a couple of months ago, we're thinking the offseason, right before, actually,
That's
right
not the
when free
question that was
agency
asked,
starts.
though.
Nah, nah, let me
Uh,
justify here. The Bears, unable to land a quarterback either through free agency or through trade, were in desperation mode, thinking we can't go into the season with Nick Foles. We can't re sign Mitch Trubisky, who did pretty well against them this week, but I digress. So,
Pretty well.
yeah, the
Kick their
Bears,
butt.
I know that was a revenge game. They should have re signed him. But the Bears made the foolish decision to tell Andy Dalton that he was going to be the starter. He was going to be QB1, and there wouldn't be competition for the job. Now, that's one of the main reasons that signed in Chicago. He didn't want to be a backup. He wanted a starting job. The Bears promised it to him. He accepted it. They didn't know that they'd be able to fleece the New York Giants, trade up, draft Justin Fields, a mere 6 weeks later, right? So if Ryan Pace and Matt Nagy manage to keep their jobs, it's going to be important for them to keep their word if they want any chance of re-signing players like Allen Robinson or having other free agents come to the team. So I think their promise to Andy Dalton is why he should still be starting week 1, because it's going to be a little political game. They said he was. They publicly said he was the starting quarterback, and now they have to keep their word. Now, if he gets injured and he
He's
loses
getting
that
injured.
job, well, who knows? Aaron Donald may run him over in week 1. If he gets
Mm,
injured and loses the job, that opens the
yeah,
door for Justin Fields. If he plays poorly and the Bears decide to take him out, then it opens the door for Justin Fields. But I think out there you're going to have Andy Dalton starting. Now, all of this could have been avoided. All of this could have been avoided had the Bears done one simple thing: not promise Andy Dalton the starting job, not promise Andy Dalton there wouldn't be quarterback competition.
now
That's all they had to do.
here's what I'm gonna say. Again, these guys need to be grown men. Need to get out their feelings and understand this is a business. This is, as Tony Romo said, a meritocracy, which means it's based on merit. You go out and you perform. If you do not perform, then you do not have that job. Andy Dalton,
Mhm.
you have been outperformed. So you
Preseason
do not. I don't
outperformed
care.
in
I
preseason.
don't
You
care.
should. You should.
I don't care. He should have shown what he could do. He has a show. Here's the thing: show a little bit. Don't show just absolutely nothing. Which is what he's basically shown is nothing. He let that boy Mitchell Trubisky on the other side there. Made probably some Bear fans say, "Man, what just happened?"
Well, you could argue that Mitch Trubisky or Mitchell Trubisky, whichever one he goes by nowadays, you could argue that he performed better than Justin Fields did over the weekend or when they played that
You
game.
could argue that. You could argue that, but I'm just saying. Here's the thing. I'm actually, when I started thinking about it, I'm going to agree with you on who should start, but not for your reasonings. I'm going to agree with you on who should start because what I saw from Mitchell Trubisky. Because Mitchell Trubisky never showed that with the Bears, which tells me everything I knew about Mac Nagy was absolutely true. He is not a good coach.
It's tough because some people are really just meant, like, their ceiling is offensive coordinator, their ceiling is defensive coordinator, because the game changes when you assume that head coach position. Now, I know they all have the dream, they all have the aspiration of becoming a head coach. It's just not meant for everybody. Matt Nagy might be in that camp, and
I
we're going to
think
find
so.
out this season whether he's able to retain this job or if the Bears are going to send him back at the end of the year. Because I think Bears, both Ryan Pace and Matt Nagy, they're both on the hot seat this season. It really matters for both of them. And it's just going to be a question of how long do they ride Andy Dalton? If he starts to struggle, how quickly do you pull him? And how quickly do you get Justin Fields in there? So I want to loop back around to what I said in the beginning. I think Justin Fields is the better quarterback. If the Bears didn't make Andy Dalton the promise, I would say yes, Justin Fields should be your week 1 starter. But since they said it, they got to keep their word, and they said it publicly.
I get they
That
said it
matters.
publicly, but at the same time, I mean, if someone's not playing better than the other person, I mean, that's going to react negatively
I know.
also. You're going to have
It's
players who are going to go to places and think, you know something? If I play well, and if I play well, I should be starting. So if I play well and this other person's just playing well for seniority purposes or because this paying favorites, they're not going to want to go to these teams. The good players who outperform players want to
mhm.
go to teams where they know that their talent is going to shine, not
Yep,
to
yep.
places where, oh, we're going to start you because we made a promise.
Now, I'm not saying Andy Dalton's going to be the week 2 starter or week 3 or any other point in the season. I'm just saying he's going to be the week 1 starter. Now, how long
But
he
what's the
keeps his
point in
job
that
is
promise?
entirely up to him because they were in desperation mode. They were foolish. They made a foolish decision.
No, no,
They,
no.
they
But
gave him the promise.
your whole thing is based off free agents coming there. What the point is the promise if it's only for week 1? Like, how does that help keep a free agent coming to there? It doesn't, because that's
If you,
just
then
that's
it
a
comes back
weak
to the
promise.
meritocracy. That's where it comes back to the merits. If you can't keep the job beyond week 1 because of your poor play, then you don't deserve it. Now, I don't know how long that leash is. I don't know what kind of veteran advantage that they're giving Andy Dalton because he has been in the league for so long. I don't know what that leash looks like. I'm just saying I'm not guaranteeing Andy Dalton anything beyond week 1. It could be Justin Fields starting week 2.
We'll see.
We'll see.
Well, no, no, we'll see. But let's be honest here. Who should be starting?
Should be Justin Fields.
Right.
Should,
Thank you.
but he won't.
Yeah.
And
I
I'm
know
not
it
going to
won't.
debate it.
I'm talking about should.
Should.
All right, let's move on to another one. One that's maybe probably kind of less. Um, let's move on to the. Who do I want to go to next? Let's go to the Patriots because this
Ooh,
one's a little bit interesting.
this one
It's,
got more interesting.
I, I don't think it's all that interesting, to be honest.
Well, I think it became more interesting. So it
Yeah.
becomes more interesting because both Cam Newton and Mac Jones have been performing well this offseason. Mac Jones has looked really impressive for a rookie. I mean, this Michael McCorkle, he's looking good, right? We're thinking, man, all these teams passed on him. But that might be the Bill Belichick effect. He can take anything and make it gold. So this is just preseason, right? This is overreaction season. We're
Yeah.
overreacting about shoulder injuries. We're overreacting about quarterback performance in preseason. But it becomes more interesting because Cam Newton is now out for several days because he violated a COVID protocol. I think he got a test that was not at a team facility, which is a
Right.
no-no in the NFL. And they told him that he cannot be around the team. I think it was he cannot be around the team for 5 days, which gives Michael McCorkle Jones all the first team reps for 5 full days. And for someone who's been
Indeed.
looking really impressive, this
And
is a big chance. Now, do I think Bill Belichick's going to roll with anybody besides Cam Newton in week 1? Not
absolutely
barring
not.
injury. But this is going to give Mac Jones more looks at that first team. Very, very valuable reps.
Indeed. Indeed. And I mean, it could lead to Mac Jones starting earlier than not.
Hmm.
Let's move on to another one where the coach isn't as absolute. Let's talk about those San Francisco 49ers. Not willing to name a starting quarterback? I mean, I get the mind games with other teams, but come on. Come on. Like, thought Jimmy G was having the greatest camp ever.
You know why he doesn't want to name a starting quarterback? Because
Why?
neither of them have really played very well this offseason. I don't
Well, no,
think he's
no,
happy
no.
about that.
Speak the truth. Speak the truth. Jimmy G just hasn't played well, and then Trey Lance has played up and down. He's showed
Very. Yeah.
flashes of brilliance, which he showed later in that game and early in the other game. But then he's put forward like really good tape on bookends and really bad tape on the middles.
Yeah. It's there's no consistency with Trey Lance. I guess with Jimmy Garoppolo getting some consistency because the expectation has a certain ceiling to it. Trey
Right.
Lance, the ceiling is absolutely ridiculously high, but your floor is actually ridiculously low as well with how he's going to perform. And it doesn't look like Trey Lance has been. I know he's been affected by drops, but it looks like decision making is still something that
Well, no, no, no. What
needs
it
to knock
is,
the rust off of
it's
things.
not even the decision making. He's just at times his ball placement is poor. That's what it is. His ball placement has been at times not the greatest. He's even in the right vicinity, but like it'll be like at the player's knees or at his back hip or a little too high in front. It's not the greatest ball placement.
Nope, but accuracy, especially for Kyle Shanahan, really important.
It is. It is. I mean, Jimmy G. I mean, why are you trying to throw to Brandon Ayuk like he's 6'5"? He's not. But we're gonna move on to another competition. Let's talk about another rookie quarterback.
Hmm.
Jacksonville Jaguars. Trevor Lawrence has not been named the starting quarterback.
Nope. And for all the things that I'll bash Urban Meyer on, I'll bash Jacksonville on, all the decisions that they make, is one thing I give him credit for is he has not committed to a quarterback, right? He hasn't promised Trevor Lawrence anything. He hasn't promised Gardner Minshew anything. Nothing has been promised. This is all open. And as much as the draft was crazy, because we know Trey Lance is going to be taking the first snap of the regular season for the Jacksonville Jaguars, he just hasn't
Trevor
said it.
Lawrence.
Oh, what did I say? Sorry.
Trey Lance.
Trey Lance. Oh. Maybe a Freudian slip. But Trevor Lawrence, yes, the other TL, he's going to be out there week one taking those snaps. Urban Meyer, I've said before, is just playing games with us and not telling us who it's going to be. But it actually turns out he's a smart man because he says there's a competition going on, and
Here's the thing.
much better than Chicago did.
There's only one reason that I would say to start Gardner Minshew. To either start Gardner Minshew or someone take out some life insurance on Trevor Lawrence. Because that little boy gonna die behind that offensive line.
Oh,
The thing is gonna get him killed.
yeah. I mean, watching that game against the Saints, I appreciate Trevor Lawrence's scrambling ability, but that boy needs to learn how to slide.
No
Right, this
joke.
is preseason.
What happened to him his freshman year? Got knocked out. Boy,
Slide.
do you want another concussion? No, you do not.
Nope, Urban Meyer doesn't want that either.
No, he does not. But let's jump to the other side of the ball there. Oh, transitions going on. I think there's a QB competition. Yes, I get it's preseason, but I think somebody ended said competition on the field that night. Monday night, someone ended a QB competition. Jameis Winston came out there and showed
Yeah.
good Jameis.
He looked so much better than
Better.
Taysom Hill.
He
He's
looked like a
looked.
Pro Bowler.
I know he even looked different from his own self, right? You're like thinking, this is Jameis Winston. Where is this guy? Like I remember the guy who threw
I've seen him.
36 and 36.
No, this is the problem with Jameis. If Sean Payton can get this Jameis every week, then you're
Yeah.
gonna have something going. It's because you get this Jameis, and then all of a sudden you get Jameis is a Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. You get Dr. Jekyll, who's awesome, and then you get Mr. Hyde, who's like,
Who
"I'm a
throws
team."
who throws 5 interceptions? Yeah.
Now,
But if Sean Payton can unlock this, I mean, New Orleans is going to be eating a lot of W's this season.
ooh, now, to be honest, oh well, just on that note, they are in New Orleans. He's gonna like them crab legs, but but let's be honest here. New Orleans is probably the best place for him because Sean Payton can craft an offense creative to keep him on schedule. The problem with these other offenses, I'm sorry, the Bruce Arians offense, you think Jamie was a perfect fit for it, but Bruce Arians is that guy who's like, just keep chucking it. Let's be honest. Let's remember, Ben Roethlisberger threw a lot of picks when he was in that Bruce Arians offense. So let's not get that twisted here.
No
Bruce,
riskets, no biscuit.
Bruce Arians does way better when he has one of those older quarterbacks, Tom Brady, Kurt Warner, where they aren't going to make that mistake because they've already been savvy enough. When he has a younger guy, it doesn't work out.
Yeah, he needs that veteran savvy.
Agreed. So, I think Jamie's is cementing himself. Taysom Hill, we talked about it last week. They heard me. They started Chinese, and look at the result. Just saying. Onward bound though. Do we have any more QB competitions to talk about?
There's the one for the Jets. I mean, wait, no, there's
No,
no
no,
competition
no.
there.
There's one
Zach
more.
Wilson.
There's one more to talk about.
Ooh,
An
which one?
interesting one. Oh, how about those Denver Broncos?
Ooh.
It's an interesting one there. That's a difficult decision because both quarterbacks have actually looked very good.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, that one's gonna be really tough.
I have an idea of who will be starting personally. Because if it's very close, I think they're going to go with the arm talent, which is Drew Lock.
Yeah, I think he has. I think being the incumbent quarterback, I think that gives him a slight advantage, especially with the
There's
locker
that too.
room. I think if neither of them can separate themselves
It's close though.
from
I
one
mean,
another,
both have played
I know
really well.
they have,
I
and that's
mean,
the tough part. So
that's one of
if
them good problems, right?
you're hoping it's a good problem, but if Teddy Bridgewater doesn't set the world on fire and really light up the final preseason game, and they both play equal or comparable, Drew Lock's got the job.
I think it's going to matter who starts that final preseason game because I think that's going to be very telling. But moving on from that competition to some of the rookies, and one of the rookies who we do like a lot, who had a rough game in that Denver game, was Javante. Had a couple of drops.
Yeah, but he wasn't the only rookie dropping passes.
True. Even
Yeah.
though, even though, before we get there, we'll get to somebody who used to drop passes last year, who's looking pretty good this year. Jerry Judy was coming on in that game. Oh, Jerry
Yeah.
Judy coming alive a little bit for his second year. But go ahead, go talk about my boy. Do you just segue to my boy
Oh,
dropping
I was going to
passes?
talk about Devontae Smith dropping a couple passes, but
No,
if you
you
want to
weren't.
talk about
No,
Jamar
you
Chase,
weren't.
we can talk about Jamar
No, you
Chase.
weren't. You know you were going to talk about Jamar.
I was prepared to talk about both.
But I mean, to be fair, I mean you can see these rookies: Devonta Smith, Jalen Waddle, even, and yes, Jamar Chase. They're rusty. They need to get some reps. Get on that jug machine. You know, get
Yeah.
some get log stuff with these quarterbacks. Get on the same page. You know, get your hands working again.
Yeah, I mean, Devontae Smith, he dropped his first two passes in that first preseason game. Now, it's hard to tell, was it Devontae's fault? Was it Joe
Or Joe
Flacco's
Flacco's fault.
fault? I mean, really, Devontae Smith should be catching what
True.
comes his direction. He should be. That's his
There
job,
were
is to be
some
there
good
catching.
balls thrown to him. There were some good balls
There
thrown.
was, and he showed some nice route running, so that was
Showed some
positive. He was
very nice route
targeted
running.
4 times, which is always a good thing to see. You didn't see any ill effects of the sprained MCL that he suffered. He
I saw a
looks
really good
back.
tweet, actually, that you should have brought up.
I may not have seen it. What was it?
Someone tweeted out, if you can't touch somebody coming off the line of scrimmage, then it doesn't matter what their weight is.
There we go.
But we'll see when he gets into the season. He's playing those better corners, you know, like the Marlon Humphreys, and you know, we'll see. I mean,
Yeah.
and then who's the guy in New York? There's the corner in New York who's very good.
James Bradbury.
James Brad, like the James Bradberries, you know. But we'll see what happens then. But
Yeah.
I'm not doubting the kid's skill, and he may even be really good. I just was saying he wasn't a top 10 pick, personally.
But moving on to the guy who was a top 10 pick,
Who dropped 3 passes, I know.
it was a rough start for Jamar Chase. That was rough. I mean, the
Same
Bengals
rate.
target him 3 times on third downs. He drops all 3. Probably 2 of those could have been turned into first downs, continue the drive. But Zach Taylor, head coach for the Bengals, was very clear after the game when he said, "We expect our receivers to catch the ball. It's
Yeah.
as simple as that."
No,
But that could apply to Devontae Smith, Javonte
no.
Williams.
To your point, he was open.
I'm not saying he was open, but those are catchable balls.
Oh
If you
no,
think back to
he was in a position to where the defender had no chance to get that ball. He was the only person to get that ball. That's open. In the NFL, that's open.
that's a yeah
Now,
yeah
to a guy who was making name for himself, someone for us to look out for, another young guy. How about this Callaway kid from New Orleans? Holy monster!
man. If Jameis Winston starts and Callaway is in the starting lineup, are you thinking, man, fantasy purpose, I gotta draft Marquez
That's
Callaway,
Callaway.
connecting for 2 touchdowns a game? Yeah,
He had 100 yards in the first quarter. I mean, but that kid made some nice catches. Someone else who was looking good didn't make a later catch, but I mean, the effort was there, and it's putting the team in a very bad position. N'Keal Harry. N'Keal Harry actually is looking way better than he has in in all of his rookie season,
yeah.
and he's putting New England in a rough spot because like he had a little bit of injury scare there, but I mean the effort. That was a hard ball to try to get, and I mean, put that effort forward and almost get that ball, and then some of the other plays he was making, something N'Keal Harry might be able to salvage that career.
Maybe it's in New England. Maybe they use this opportunity to try and trade him to another team. Huh?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. All right,
Man, all right.
next.
Actually,
Go ahead.
two more rookies. Actually, I have two or three more rookies,
I got
real
another
quick
rookie
though.
too.
All right, my first one is going to be Najee Harris. He continues to look good, right? He
Yep,
continues to look
yep.
like a workhorse running back, and I absolutely loved how he snatched Desmond Trufant's ankles and soul from about 10 yards away. Rest in peace to those ankles.
Who's a big fan of Najee?
I think that might be you.
This guy. Also, those announcers. Y'all need to learn the name, my friends. Stop saying Najee. Najee.
Najee.
All right, who the other two? Before I
The
give
other
you mine.
two, yeah. One of mine is going to be Micah Parsons.
Oh, I was going to talk about Micah. So go ahead.
All right. Do you want me to do my other rookie and then you can talk
We'll
about
get into
Micah?
Micah. Yeah, yeah.
All right. All right. So my other rookie to talk about is Lions offensive tackle Penny Sewell. We're talking
Nice.
about rookies
Very
who are
nice.
struggling because you know you're thinking Jamar Chase missed the 2020 season. Right. Well, he's in the public about dropping these passes, having all of this rust on him. But as big of a fan as I am of Penei Sewell, he has been struggling this offseason
Yeah.
as well. He hasn't looked good against Buffalo. He didn't look very good against Pittsburgh. Now, you can have the argument. He changed positions. Yes, technically left tackle to right tackle. That's a position
But
change.
it's
I
been done
get that.
before.
Absolutely. But even with that transition, he was coming out of even missing the season. It's like he's one of the best offensive tackle prospects
True.
in a very long time. So you're thinking somebody of that caliber should be able to make a transition and make it a little bit more smooth than Penei Sewell actually has been doing. He didn't look good against Buffalo. Gregor Rousseau got a nice sack, and he didn't look good against Pittsburgh. I think Melvin Ingram was killing him out there. He hasn't looked good. But where's the public talking about all the rust on Penei Sewell, right?
Now,
Where's the criticism for him? Is it different
now,
because he doesn't catch touchdowns?
no, it's different because he's in Detroit.
No
Also,
one cares.
now to talk about somebody who's on a team that everybody wants to talk about, and to talk about somebody who spent also the entire 2020 year not in football, but does not look like he's got rust.
Oh,
Micah Parsons. You want to know what sums up Micah Parsons in that game and how he's been all off season? Did you see the play where Micah Parsons is playing three tech? He's playing defensive tackle. They hike the ball. And first, before I get into this, is Tyrod Taylor slow?
shouldn't be.
Is he slow?
Compared
Is
to
he
Micah
known for
Parsons,
being
he
slow?
is.
No.
No.
Is he known for
No.
being slow? Okay, so Micah Parsons basically just like tosses the center. Like he throws the center on his butt. This guy's got like 100 pounds on him, and he just throws him on his butt, and then proceeds to go after Tyrod Taylor, who's already ran out of the pocket, and almost track him down. This dude's insane.
Yeah. It would. He continues to look like a beast. Like whenever you saw any play, he was all over the field against Houston.
Man should not be
All
that fast
over.
at that side.
Cowboys got a good one. That
Speaking
one's going
of
to be like
one of
franchise
our
pick right
teams,
there.
speaking of one of our teams, one of your corners, your rookies, played kind of well over this weekend. Showed a little something.
All right. Well, I'll agree with kinda. Yeah.
Kinda. He played.
Ah,
You
there
give
there
him
was
some love.
improvement.
Give him some love. Stokes was there. Stokes, and I don't
Give
think the
him some
first
love. Fine,
reception was on
fine.
him. I don't think the
He
first. I
played
think it
better
was a
than
scheme
Kevin
thing.
King did.
But
So
but the first reception, I don't think that was on him. I think that was a scheme thing, and he was there to get the sure tackle. Kevin King. Kevin King.
yeah, Eric Stokes. He's looking better. And I'll take the progress because at this point he's on the Packers roster, right? We can't go back. We can't turn back the clock to the draft. We can't change that
Right,
pick.
right.
He's on
Well,
the
I'm
team.
just
I gotta
saying there's
start being
promise
positive
there.
about it.
There's promise there.
As
He's
much as
better
I
than
think
last
he
year's
was
class.
overdrafted, yeah. Oh yeah.
Now,
My cats have more promise.
going to something that I'm actually very happy about. It's going to be fun to watch. So, in New York, there seems to be a quarterback with a lot of buzz. And no, I'm not talking about the Giants with Daniel Jones, who hasn't played in the preseason either, who probably needs it. I'm talking about Zach
Buzz.
Wilson.
What?
I'm
What?
talking about Zach Wilson, who the hype has started.
I know there's good and bad to overreaction season, right? The bad is just emphasized so much. Like Jamar Chase drops 3 passes, he must be horrible. Yada yada yada. Zach Wilson, carves up the Green Bay defense, playing twos and threes. I mean, their tackling was in mid-season for him, but Zach Wilson continues to gain momentum. It's preseason though, right? I want to see what happens when he plays for a full game because right now I think he's going out there with the script. Right
Now,
now I
that
think
being
he's
said,
going out there knowing what he's going to be doing. I want to see 3 quarters in, 4 quarters in. How does he look? Does he go back to that gunslinger mentality and kind of lose this good decision making he's been using? That's what
now,
I want to see.
now that being said, Corey Davis. Oh my goodness.
He's been good. I mean, that's a good
I mean,
acquisition by New York.
he looks like, at least in that preseason game, he looks like the receiver he was always supposed to be.
Supposed to be, yeah. What was he, a number 5 pick?
Yeah, something like that. Yeah,
He was top 10. He never turned out that way for Tennessee, at least not over a full season.
yeah.
But
But and I mean, we'll see what happens. Another one of the Jets' injury bugs is we haven't had the chance to see the receiver Elijah. What's his name?
more.
I forgot his name. It's a
Elijah
receiver
Moore, I think.
out of Ole Miss.
Yeah,
So
Elijah
that
Moore.
should be interesting when he gets back. There's also Vera Tucker, who hasn't been in. The Jets just have problems.
They do, but it's one of those things where it's funny that quarterback is not one of those problems, right?
Indeed. So we
Quarterback is in
believe.
the right direction.
So we believe. We'll have to wait till we see. That's just the way it goes. Anybody else you want to talk about? Any other news you want to think about?
Rookies, I think those are all the rookies, and I think the only thing I have is the Washington football team and potentially a new name of theirs.
Yeah, is this something I'm supposed to care about?
we'll play a game real quick, right? There are 8 rumored nicknames,
Oh, good
and
lord.
they're down to 3 finalists. Now, we don't know what the 3
Oh,
finalists are, and they have 8 rumored nicknames that these 3 finalists could have come from. They're very vague with all this, but let me read you the nicknames one by one, and you say, I like it or I don't. Now, give your feedback each one.
okay.
Ready? How does this one sound? The Washington Armada.
Nah.
No.
Nah, that sounds weird.
Washington Brigade.
No.
Washington Commanders.
It sounds like when you make that Madden team.
One of those default team names. The Washington Defenders.
It's not terrible.
Washington Presidents.
Get out of here. Get
That,
out
wa-
of here.
that was on the rumored list of the down to 8. They have the Washington Red Hogs.
What?
It's
What?
I think it's supposed to be similar to the nickname of the Washington offensive line in the 80s and 90s, the
That's a. Oh,
Hogs. I
I
think
don't
it's a
care.
play on, yeah. Yep, wasn't a fan of that one either. The Washington Red Wolves.
It's not bad. I've never seen a red wolf, but it's not bad.
Nope, it's a member of the wolf family that likes to hunt in packs, just like the Washington defense. Who knows? And then the last one that was rumored to be on the list is the Washington football team, just keeping the normal name, or their
Believe it or
current name.
not, the one I like the best is the Washington football team.
Ah, I like the Red Wolves. The
Either
Red
that or
Wolves, I
red
think.
wolves. Either that or red wolves.
The
Every.
the other ones, yeah. I mean, at
All
least if
right.
they go with the Red Wolves, they can keep the R as part of their logo, their branding, their marketing.
True.
They'd have that working in their favor.
And I mean, you could get a cool wolf on the helmet. I mean, you could do that.
hmm
Now, that looks like it's all we got for the news portion of this week. So, Sean, first level of words of wisdom. What you got?
Sorry for ending this section on such a down note with the Washington football team, but if you go to a football game, enjoy yourself, don't drink too much, and don't get into a fight.
Please don't get in the fights. I mean, it's not fun. It's not fun at all. Also, my words of wisdom is going to piggyback that. Regardless if it's football, or a social gathering, even if you're on Twitter, be respectful. Let the other people be idiots and be those types of people. We all can be better than that. Be respectful to people.